Behind the glitz and glamour of Hollywood's golden age lies a hidden reality, one that the cameras never captured. For many stars, the fame, fortune, and pressure of the limelight masked deeper struggles. Some of the most iconic figures in entertainment history fought secret battles with addiction, often to alcohol, that would forever change their lives. But what happens when the world sees you as untouchable, yet you're barely holding it together? These Hollywood legends weren't just characters on the screen. They were real people grappling with the highs and lows of fame. Today, we're diving into the untold stories of 10 iconic stars whose battles with alcohol left an indelible mark on their lives and on Hollywood history. So grab a seat and prepare to uncover the darker side of Tinseltown as we explore the struggles, scandals, and legacies of some of Hollywood's most beloved stars. Number 1, Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes, was a legend, a cultural icon whose voice could melt hearts and whose swagger defined cool. But behind the suave public image lay a man deeply tied to his drink of choice, Jack Daniel's whiskey. For Sinatra, whiskey wasn't just a drink, it was practically a part of his identity, as integral as his iconic fedora and sharp suits. Sinatra's preferred concoction was as precise as the timing in his songs: 4 ice cubes, 2 fingers of Jack, and a splash of water served in a rocks glass. He was known to enjoy his signature drink any time of day, often accompanied by his close circle of friends, who jokingly referred to themselves as the American Olympic Drinking Team. This group wasn't just about camaraderie, it was about living life to the fullest, with whiskey as their ever-present companion. But Sinatra's love affair with alcohol was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it added to his allure, making him the quintessential image of a carefree, charismatic entertainer. On the other hand, it often fueled his fiery temper and impulsive behavior. Sources revealed that his mood could shift dramatically when he drank, leading to altercations with journalists, fellow performers, and even loved ones. One particularly chilling story involves his ex-wife locking herself in their bedroom after he drank gin, a drink that reportedly brought out an especially aggressive side of him. Even on set, Sinatra's drinking habits were no secret. He was known to keep a bottle of Jack close by during rehearsals and recording sessions, sometimes using it as a way to ease the stress of his demanding schedule. However, his drinking didn't seem to affect his performance. In fact, many believed it added to the mystique and depth of his stage presence. It was this paradox that made him such a fascinating figure, both larger than life and deeply flawed. Doctors were often alarmed by the extent of Sinatra's drinking. It's said that his ability to down an entire bottle of Jack Daniel's daily astonished medical professionals, who warned him about the long-term health effects. Yet Sinatra shrugged off these concerns, continuing his indulgence as if it were part of his art. "I feel sorry for people who don't drink," he famously quipped, "because when they wake up in the morning, that's as good as they're going to feel all day." Despite the controversies surrounding his drinking, Sinatra's legacy as one of the greatest entertainers of all time remains untarnished. When he passed away in 1998 at the age of 82, his love for Jack Daniel's was immortalized in a fitting tribute. He was buried with a bottle of his favorite whiskey in his casket. For a man who lived life on his own terms, it was a final gesture that encapsulated the essence of Frank Sinatra, a legend who lived, loved, and drank with unparalleled passion. Number 2, Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was more than just a Hollywood legend. She was a force of nature. With her striking violet eyes and undeniable talent, she dominated the silver screen, winning hearts and 2 Academy Awards for her performances. But behind the fame, fortune, and public admiration lay a deeply personal struggle that few knew about at the time. Taylor's life was a whirlwind of glamour and turmoil, and her battle with addiction was one of her most challenging chapters. Taylor's addiction didn't develop overnight. The pressures of fame, combined with the intense scrutiny of her personal life, created a perfect storm. Her health issues often required heavy medication, including painkillers, which became a crutch. Additionally, her tumultuous relationships added to her emotional strain. Perhaps most famously, her marriages, especially her fiery, on-again, off-again union with Richard Burton, were marked by passion, conflict, and often shared indulgence in alcohol. Their love story was as intoxicating as it was destructive, with their drinking habits only amplifying the volatility of their relationship. For Taylor, alcohol became both a coping mechanism and an escape from the relentless pressures of her life. The demands of maintaining her status as a screen goddess, coupled with the emotional weight of personal struggles, pushed her further into the clutches of addiction. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, her drinking had escalated to a point where it could no longer be ignored. In 1983, Elizabeth Taylor made a bold and unprecedented move. She admitted herself to the Betty Ford Center for rehabilitation. At a time when addiction was a taboo subject, especially for high-profile celebrities, Taylor's decision was revolutionary. She became the first major star to publicly acknowledge her struggles and seek help, shattering the stigma surrounding addiction. Her time at the Betty Ford Center marked a turning point in her life. In interviews following her treatment, Taylor candidly discussed her battles with addiction, shedding light on the emotional pain that often drove her to drink. Her openness was a rarity for Hollywood royalty, and it inspired countless others to confront their own struggles. Taylor's courage in facing her demons head-on proved that even the most glamorous icons are human. Emerging from rehab, Taylor found a renewed sense of purpose. She didn't just want to reclaim her life, she wanted to make a difference. Her own experiences with addiction gave her a deep empathy for others facing similar challenges, and she used her platform to advocate for awareness and change. It was during this period of renewal that Taylor became a champion for another cause close to her heart, the fight against AIDS. In the 1980s, at the height of the epidemic, AIDS was surrounded by fear, stigma, and misunderstanding. Taylor was one of the first major celebrities to step forward, using her fame to raise awareness and funds for research and treatment. She co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research, AMFR, and later established the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, raising millions of dollars and becoming a symbol of hope for those affected by the disease. Elizabeth Taylor's journey from addiction to advocacy was nothing short of inspiring. She showed the world that vulnerability and strength go hand in hand. By confronting her struggles publicly, she not only reclaimed her own life, but also paved the way for others to seek help without shame. Her work in addiction recovery and AIDS activism left an indelible mark on both Hollywood and the world at large. When Taylor passed away in 2011 at the age of 79, she left behind more than a legacy of iconic films and timeless beauty. She left a legacy of resilience, compassion, and advocacy. Her life was a testament to the fact that even the darkest struggles can lead to a brighter purpose. Number 3, Richard Burton. Richard Burton was one of the most talented actors of his time, captivating audiences with his commanding voice and powerful performances in films like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and Cleopatra. Yet behind the scenes, Burton's life was as tumultuous as the roles he played. His love of acting was matched only by his love of alcohol, a destructive force that nearly overshadowed his remarkable career. Burton's struggles with alcohol were no secret in Hollywood. By the 1970s, he was reportedly consuming 2 to 3 bottles of vodka a day. This excessive drinking became a defining characteristic of his life, earning him a reputation as one of Hollywood's most infamous heavy drinkers. He once assured a director that he would stay sober during a project, only to clarify that his definition of sober meant limiting himself to just 1 bottle of vodka per day. Even by his own admission, Burton's relationship with alcohol was extreme. He quipped that he felt sober after drinking 2 bottles of vodka, a statement that reflected both his dependency and the toll it was taking on his body. His drinking became so ingrained in his daily routine that it was nearly impossible to separate the man from his addiction. Despite his struggles, Burton's talent remained undeniable. His performances continued to receive critical acclaim, and he earned several Academy Award nominations throughout his career. However, his addiction began to take a toll on his work. During the filming of The Klansman, Burton's drinking had become so debilitating that he had to film several scenes while seated or lying down because he couldn't maintain his balance. Even with these challenges, Burton's acting prowess often shone through. His portrayal in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf opposite Elizabeth Taylor was a career highlight, showcasing his ability to channel his inner demons into raw, emotionally charged performances. The film earned him an Oscar nomination, cementing his status as one of the greatest actors of his generation. Burton's personal life was equally dramatic. His passionate and turbulent relationship with Elizabeth Taylor was the stuff of Hollywood legend. The pair married and divorced twice, their love affair fueled by their mutual addiction to alcohol. Their explosive arguments and public displays of affection made headlines, but behind the scenes, their shared drinking habits often exacerbated their problems. During their second marriage, Burton's drinking reached new heights. It wasn't just a coping mechanism, it was a destructive force that impacted his relationships and his health. Taylor, who was also battling her own addiction, reportedly tried to encourage Burton to seek help, but the couple's combined struggles made recovery a difficult road. In the late 1970s, after a turbulent divorce from Taylor, Burton finally decided to confront his addiction. He checked himself into a lockdown recovery center, a brave step that marked a turning point in his life. For a time, he managed to stay sober, dedicating himself to his craft and trying to rebuild his personal life. Unfortunately, the years of heavy drinking had already taken a toll on his body. Burton's health continued to decline, and in 1984, he passed away from a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 58. His death was a tragic reminder of the devastating effects of addiction. Richard Burton's legacy is one of brilliance and complexity. He remains celebrated as one of the greatest actors of all time, a man whose performances captivated millions. Yet his battle with alcohol serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the human struggles that can lie beneath even the most glittering careers. Burton's life was a testament to the duality of greatness, a man capable of unparalleled artistry, but haunted by personal demons. His story continues to resonate as both a tribute to his talent and a sobering reflection on the price of excess. Number 4, Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford, one of the most iconic actresses of Hollywood's golden age, was the epitome of elegance and determination. Her performances in classics like Mildred Pierce, which earned her an Academy Award, solidified her status as a screen legend. But beneath the polished exterior of this ambitious and fiercely independent star lay a hidden struggle with alcohol that threatened to tarnish her legacy. Crawford's life took a unique turn when she married Alfred Steele, the CEO of PepsiCo, in 1955. After Steele's death in 1959, Crawford became an official ambassador for the company, traveling the world to promote its brand. While the role gave her a new sense of purpose, it also revealed her private battle with alcohol. On these promotional tours, Crawford's demands were both extravagant and telling. Her beverage requests were famously specific: 2/5 of scotch, 1/5 of gin, 1/5 of bourbon, 2 bottles of champagne, and of course, a case of Pepsi. Despite being the face of a soda empire, it was clear that alcohol played a far more significant role in her life. Known for her meticulous attention to detail and relentless work ethic, Crawford maintained a strict image of professionalism on set. However, as her dependence on alcohol grew, cracks began to show. Stories surfaced of erratic behavior during filming, often attributed to her drinking. Co-stars described her as both intensely focused and, at times, unpredictably volatile. Her drinking wasn't just a private vice, it affected her personal relationships as well. Crawford's reputation for perfectionism often masked deep insecurities, which alcohol seemed to amplify. The pressures of maintaining her image as a glamorous and powerful woman in an industry that was quick to dismiss aging actresses likely contributed to her reliance on the bottle. Crawford's private life was just as complicated as her career. Her relationships with her adopted children were notoriously strained, as detailed in Christina Crawford's controversial memoir, Mommy Dearest. The book painted a picture of a controlling and sometimes abusive mother, often fueled by bouts of heavy drinking. While some of the claims remain disputed, they shed light on the darker side of Crawford's struggle with addiction. In her later years, Crawford's drinking became increasingly public. She reportedly attended social events with a drink always in hand, further fueling tabloid speculation about her dependency. By the time she retired from acting in the 1970s, alcohol had become a constant companion, one that would ultimately contribute to her declining health. Despite her struggles, Joan Crawford remains a symbol of resilience and ambition. Her rise from humble beginnings to Hollywood royalty is a testament to her determination and talent. While her battle with alcohol left its mark, it didn't overshadow her incredible contributions to cinema. Crawford's story is a reminder that even the most glamorous stars are human, grappling with the same vulnerabilities and challenges as anyone else. Her legacy is one of complexity, a blend of triumph, struggle, and an enduring impact on Hollywood. Number 5. Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy will forever be remembered as Mr. Spock, the logical and stoic Vulcan from Star Trek. His portrayal of the beloved character made him an icon in science fiction and beyond. But off-screen, Nimoy's life was far from the calm, controlled persona he projected. Beneath the surface, he battled a dependence on alcohol that nearly consumed him. Nimoy's struggle with alcohol began during the height of Star Trek's success. The long, grueling hours of production, coupled with the immense pressure to maintain a flawless public image, began to weigh heavily on him. To cope, he turned to alcohol, a habit that quickly became a crutch. His drinking escalated as Star Trek's popularity soared, leaving Nimoy feeling trapped by the expectations of his growing fan base. Co-star William Shatner later reflected that Nimoy often used alcohol as a shield to deal with the overwhelming demands of fame. What started as a drink to relax after a long day soon became a necessity. While Nimoy maintained his professionalism on set, his addiction began to take a toll on his personal life. He admitted that he often drank to escape the emotional and physical strain of his work, and his dependence on alcohol strained relationships with those closest to him. Even during major milestones in his career, Nimoy found it difficult to stay away from the bottle. By the time the original Star Trek series wrapped, his drinking had become an open secret among colleagues and friends. Despite his struggles, Nimoy's dedication to his craft never wavered, and his performances continued to resonate with fans. In the late 1980s, Nimoy realized the depth of his problem and took steps to regain control of his life. He sought help and began the journey towards sobriety, a decision that marked a turning point in both his personal and professional life. In his autobiography, I Am Spock, Nimoy candidly shared his battle with addiction, describing how it shaped his understanding of himself and his iconic character. Sobriety allowed Nimoy to reconnect with his passions, including photography, poetry, and directing. It also helped him repair relationships with his family, particularly with his children, who had witnessed the effects of his drinking firsthand. He became an advocate for seeking help, openly discussing the importance of recognizing and addressing addiction. Although Nimoy overcame his battle with alcohol, his struggles didn't end there. In later years, he developed a smoking habit that ultimately contributed to his death. Nimoy, who had quit smoking decades earlier, revealed that he suffered from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, a condition caused by his years of smoking. Nimoy's final years were marked by a sense of reflection and gratitude. He used his platform to encourage others to avoid the mistakes he had made, urging fans to quit smoking and seek help for addiction. His famous final tweet, "A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had, but not preserved except in memory," served as a poignant reminder of his journey. Leonard Nimoy's story is one of redemption and resilience. Despite his struggles with alcohol, he emerged as a beloved figure who inspired countless fans through his work and his honesty about his personal challenges. His journey serves as a powerful reminder that even the most logical and composed personas can hide profound struggles, and that it's never too late to seek help and make a change. Nimoy passed away in 2015 at the age of 83, leaving behind a legacy that extended far beyond Star Trek. His life was a testament to the human capacity for growth, healing, and transformation. A message that resonates as strongly as Spock's iconic words, "Live long and prosper." Number 6. W.C. Fields. W.C. Fields was one of America's greatest comedians, known for his distinctive nasal voice, sharp wit, and ability to make audiences laugh with his grumpy, misanthropic on-screen persona. But behind the humor and impeccable comedic timing was a man locked in a constant struggle with alcohol. Fields' battle with addiction became as much a part of his legacy as his iconic roles. Fields' drinking habits were legendary, even by Hollywood standards. He reportedly consumed up to 2 quarts of gin daily, a staggering amount that left friends and colleagues in awe of his tolerance. Stories from his life often blur the line between fact and myth, but one thing is certain: alcohol was both a creative companion and a destructive force in his life. Fields was infamous for hiding bottles of liquor in unusual places, from hollowed-out books to props on set. He once quipped, "I never drink water because fish fuck in it," a line that reflected both his wit and his unapologetic embrace of his drinking lifestyle. Fields' heavy drinking began to affect his health and professional life in the mid-1930s. By the time he was filming Poppy, 1936, his alcoholism had reached a point where he struggled to complete scenes without assistance. He was frequently ill, suffering from conditions like delirium tremens, which caused severe shaking and hallucinations. His declining health led Paramount Pictures to terminate his contract, a devastating blow to his career. Despite these challenges, Fields managed to stage a remarkable comeback in radio. His appearances on The Chase and Sanborn Hour in the late 1930s revitalized his career, showcasing his comedic brilliance without the physical demands of film. Radio allowed Fields to work while recovering, and his popularity soared once again. Fields' love of drinking wasn't limited to his personal life. It was deeply embedded in his public persona. He often played characters who were heavy drinkers, blending his real-life struggles with his on-screen antics. While audiences loved his humor, few realized the toll that his lifestyle was taking on his body. His drinking exacerbated health issues, including cirrhosis and stomach problems, which worsened as he aged. His penchant for excess extended beyond alcohol. Fields lived a life of indulgence, often surrounding himself with lavish comforts and eccentric habits. Yet his humor and charm made him a beloved figure, even as his personal struggles became more apparent. In the final years of his life, Fields' health rapidly declined. He spent his last months in a sanitarium, battling the physical effects of decades of heavy drinking. On Christmas Day in 1946, Fields passed away at the age of 66, the result of a catastrophic gastrointestinal hemorrhage. Though his life ended tragically, Fields left behind a legacy of laughter and wit that continues to influence comedians to this day. His ability to find humor in life's absurdities, even while battling his own demons, made him a truly unique figure in entertainment. W.C. Fields' story is one of brilliance overshadowed by addiction. He was a man who made millions laugh while struggling with his own pain, a reminder that even the funniest people can carry heavy burdens. His wit, charm, and resilience remain an enduring part of his legacy, proving that comedy can shine even in the darkest of times. Number 7. Larry Hagman. Larry Hagman, best known for his iconic role as the scheming oil tycoon J.R. Ewing on Dallas and the charming astronaut in I Dream of Jeannie, was a larger-than-life figure both on and off the screen. With his infectious charm and magnetic presence, he became a household name. But behind the scenes, Hagman battled a decades-long addiction to alcohol that would eventually lead to life-threatening consequences. Hagman's drinking began as a casual indulgence, but quickly escalated into a daily routine. While filming Dallas, he reportedly drank up to 5 bottles of champagne a day, often starting as early as 9 a.m. This habit became so ingrained that colleagues would joke about his seemingly endless tolerance. Hagman himself once quipped, "I don't get hangovers, I just stay drunk." Champagne wasn't his only vice. Vodka was another favorite. He carried a thermos filled with the spirit, jokingly referring to it as his continuous lifeline. Despite his heavy drinking, Hagman remained professional on set, often masking the effects of his addiction with his charismatic demeanor and sharp wit. Years of excessive drinking began to take a serious toll on Hagman's health. In 1992, he was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, a condition caused by chronic alcoholism. Despite warnings from doctors, Hagman continued his drinking habits, believing he was invincible. However, his condition worsened, and by 1995, he was diagnosed with a life-threatening liver tumor. Facing the reality of his addiction, Hagman underwent a 16-hour liver transplant surgery that ultimately saved his life. The experience was a wake-up call, prompting him to embrace sobriety and advocate for organ donation. He often credited the transplant with giving him a second chance at life, calling himself a living example of the miracles of modern medicine. Hagman's drinking wasn't without its challenges for those around him. During the filming of I Dream of Jeannie, His co-star Barbara Eden recalled instances where his behavior became erratic due to his alcohol consumption. Although he maintained his professionalism in front of the camera, his struggles were apparent to those who worked closely with him. By the time Dallas became a global phenomenon, Hagman's drinking had become a running joke among the cast and crew. Yet it was clear that his addiction was more than just a quirk. It was a deeply ingrained coping mechanism that threatened to overshadow his achievements. After his liver transplant, Hagman became an outspoken advocate for sobriety and organ donation. He often shared his story publicly, using his platform to raise awareness about the dangers of alcoholism and the importance of seeking help. His transformation from a heavy drinker to a symbol of recovery inspired countless fans and colleagues. Hagman's later years were marked by gratitude and reflection. He returned to Dallas in its 2012 reboot, reprising his role as J.R. Ewing with the same charm and cunning that had made him a star. His ability to overcome his struggles and return to the spotlight was a testament to his resilience. Larry Hagman passed away in 2012 at the age of 81, leaving behind a legacy as one of television's most memorable villains and a man who faced his personal demons head-on. His journey from addiction to advocacy serves as a reminder that it's never too late to make a change and use one's experiences to help others. Number 8. Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton was a Hollywood starlet whose breathtaking beauty and undeniable talent seemed to promise a glittering career. Known for her roles in films like Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye and Trapped, she quickly rose to prominence in the 1940s and 1950s. But behind the glamour, Payton's life was a cautionary tale of excess, addiction, and self-destruction. Her struggles with alcohol and poor decisions led to a devastating fall from grace. Payton's rise to stardom was as swift as her descent into obscurity. Discovered for her striking looks, she quickly transitioned from small-town girl to Hollywood leading lady. But her career took a sharp downturn when her personal life began to overshadow her work. Payton became infamous for her scandalous affairs, including highly publicized relationships with actors Franchot Tone and Tom Neal. The love triangle ended in violence when Neal brutally beat Tone in a fight over Payton, a scandal that became front-page news. This controversy marked the beginning of Payton's downward spiral. Her reputation suffered irreparable damage, and the film offers dried up. Struggling to cope with the fallout, she turned to alcohol as a means of escape. As her drinking intensified, so did the chaos in her life. Payton's reliance on alcohol led to erratic behavior, and she became a regular in Hollywood's tabloid headlines for all the wrong reasons. Her once promising career was reduced to minor roles in low-budget films, and her finances quickly dwindled. By the early 1960s, Payton's situation had become dire. She was arrested multiple times for public intoxication, check fraud, and disorderly conduct. In one infamous incident, she was found sleeping at a bus stop wearing nothing but a coat and a bathing suit. Her life had become a tragic contrast to the glamorous image she once portrayed on screen. Payton's final years were marked by poverty and despair. Unable to secure acting roles, she reportedly turned to prostitution to support herself. Her struggles with alcoholism left her physically and emotionally broken. In 1967, Payton was found dead in her parents' home at the age of 39. The official cause of death was heart and liver failure, brought on by years of heavy drinking and neglect. Barbara Payton's story is one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking tragedies. Her life serves as a stark reminder of the destructive power of addiction and the pressures of fame. While her time in the spotlight was brief, her story continues to resonate as a cautionary tale about the perils of excess and the fragility of stardom. Though her life ended in tragedy, Payton's legacy lives on as a poignant example of the human cost of addiction. Her journey from Hollywood glamour to heartbreaking obscurity underscores the importance of compassion, understanding, and support for those battling similar demons. Number 9. Spencer Tracy. Spencer Tracy was one of Hollywood's greatest actors, renowned for his powerful performances in classics like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Judgment at Nuremberg, and Captain's Courageous. With 2 Academy Awards and countless accolades, Tracy seemed to embody success and grace. Yet behind the scenes, he fought a lifelong battle with alcohol that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. Tracy's drinking began in his early years, well before he became a household name. Despite his charm and professionalism on set, he struggled with intense feelings of guilt and self-doubt, often exacerbated by his strict Catholic upbringing. Alcohol became both a coping mechanism and a source of solace, helping him escape his internal turmoil. For Tracy, drinking often came in waves. After completing a film, he would embark on what he called alcoholic retreats, disappearing for days or even weeks. During these binges, he isolated himself in hotels, skipping engagements and frustrating colleagues. The cycle was as predictable as it was destructive. He'd drink heavily, regret it, and then swear to abstain until the pattern inevitably repeated itself. Despite his addiction, Tracy maintained a reputation as one of Hollywood's most dependable actors. His performances were consistently lauded for their depth and authenticity, and he became a favorite among directors and co-stars alike. However, his drinking occasionally interfered with his work. On one infamous occasion, Tracy arrived on set in his pajamas, riding a bicycle around the Warner Brothers lot instead of filming. Friends and colleagues often tried to shield Tracy from the consequences of his actions. Stories from his time on set reveal a mix of admiration and frustration. Directors found creative ways to work around his erratic behavior, often shooting his scenes early in the day, before his drinking could take hold. Despite these challenges, Tracy's talent always shone through, and his performances rarely betrayed the chaos happening behind the scenes. Tracy's addiction didn't just affect his career, it also took a toll on his personal life. His marriage to Louise Treadwell endured despite his struggles, but it was far from conventional. Tracy's guilt over their strained relationship and his inability to fully support their deaf son added to his emotional burdens. His long-term affair with Katharine Hepburn, one of Hollywood's most beloved romances, was equally complicated by his drinking. Hepburn often acted as a stabilizing force in Tracy's life, helping him through his darkest moments. Despite her best efforts, however, his addiction remained a persistent challenge. Tracy's friends and loved ones watched helplessly as he grappled with feelings of shame and remorse, which only seemed to fuel his dependence on alcohol. Spencer Tracy passed away in 1967 at the age of 67, just days after completing Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. By that time, years of heavy drinking had taken a significant toll on his health. Yet even as his struggles threatened to overshadow his achievements, Tracy's legacy as one of Hollywood's finest actors remained intact. Tracy's story is a testament to the duality of human nature. He was a man of extraordinary talent, capable of delivering performances that moved audiences to tears, yet he was also deeply flawed, haunted by personal demons. His life serves as a reminder that even the brightest stars can struggle with darkness, and that their battles do not diminish their brilliance. Number 10. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart, the quintessential Hollywood tough guy, remains one of the most revered actors in cinematic history. With unforgettable performances in films like Casablanca and The Maltese Falcon, Bogart epitomized cool, exuding an effortless charisma that defined an era. But behind the iconic trench coat and fedora was a man battling his own demons, including a well-documented struggle with alcohol. Bogart's love for alcohol wasn't just a private matter. It became part of his public image. His off-screen reputation as a heavy drinker only added to the mystique of his on-screen characters. Friends and co-stars described him as a pleasant and charming man until about 11:30 p.m., when the effects of his drinking often took a darker turn. After that, Bogart's mood could shift, becoming irritable, confrontational, or even violent. His love of martinis was legendary, and he reportedly began most days with a thermos filled with the cocktail, brought to him by his then-wife, Mayo Methot. The two shared a notoriously tumultuous relationship, fueled by their mutual dependence on alcohol. Their frequent arguments earned them the nickname the Battling Bogarts, a testament to the volatility that marked their marriage. Despite his drinking, Bogart remained a consummate professional. He often arrived on set hungover, but rarely let it affect his performances. However, his behavior wasn't without consequences. On one occasion, he showed up to work still in his pajamas, refusing to film, and instead riding a bicycle around the Warner Brothers lot. While directors and producers often indulged his antics, His drinking was no secret in the industry. In some cases, Bogart's roles seemed to mirror his real-life struggles. His characters often drank heavily, blending his personal habits with his on-screen personas. Yet Bogart's talent and dedication allowed him to transcend these challenges, delivering performances that became timeless classics. As Bogart aged, the toll of his lifestyle became increasingly evident. His lifelong habit of smoking and drinking led to significant health problems. In 1956, he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, a condition exacerbated by years of heavy alcohol and tobacco use. Even in his final days, Bogart was rarely seen without a glass of sherry or a cigarette in hand. He passed away in 1957 at the age of 57, leaving behind a legacy that remains unparalleled in Hollywood history. Humphrey Bogart's story is one of complexity and contradiction. He was a man who lived life on his own terms, embracing his vices while delivering performances that captivated audiences. His struggle with alcohol didn't define him, but it did reveal the human vulnerability behind the cool, unflappable exterior. Bogart's life serves as a reminder that even the most iconic figures are not immune to the challenges of addiction. The stories of these iconic figures share a common thread: the complex interplay between fame, addiction, and humanity. These legends captivated the world with their extraordinary talent, but their struggles with alcohol unveiled the often overlooked realities behind the glitz and glamour of life in the spotlight. For many of these stars, alcohol was a way to cope with the immense pressures of fame, the scrutiny of the public eye, and the emotional toll of their personal lives. Their stories remind us that even the brightest stars can struggle with darkness. Yet they also leave behind legacies of resilience, creativity, and undeniable talent. Hollywood has always been a place of dreams and illusions, but these stories pull back the curtain to reveal the humanity behind the myth. They serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of compassion and understanding for those battling addiction, and the strength it takes to confront and overcome those struggles. As we reflect on their lives, we can appreciate not only their contributions to entertainment, but also the lessons they leave us. Addiction doesn't define a person. How they face their battles and what they achieve despite them is what truly matters. If you found these stories thought-provoking, let us know in the comments which one resonated with you the most. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. By supporting us, you help keep these important stories alive and allow us to bring you more fascinating content from the world of Hollywood and beyond. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.